What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a happy Sunday today. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day out there to all the moms. If you're watching this, and happy Mother's Day to my own mother. Love you, Mom. And yeah, man, hope everybody's having a great day today. Today's obviously a great day to celebrate our everybody's lovely moms. And um, I wouldn't be where I am today without my mom. That's for sure, obviously. Man, my mom's greatest mom ever. And my mom was with me a lot of those days I talked to you guys about where I had bad panic attacks, and you know, she was always there in those days. And I don't know how she always got me to calm down, or she was always level headed, even killed a lot of those times. And yeah, man, so thank you, Mom, and love you, and happy Mother's Day to you. And like I said, happy Mother's Day again to all the moms. And hope everybody's enjoying this nice weather today. It's finally nice. Like the weather's finally going to break. Thank gosh. Hopefully it stays this way for the rest of the summer and beyond. um, but yeah, man. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Uh, I watched the UFC fights last night. I'm gonna be honest. Two of the fights are really good. Well, first off, the Cerrone fight, Cowboy Cerrone fight, didn't happen. I don't know why. I must have missed that, but didn't happen. Then we had the uh, second fight, St. Preux and the other guy, the Hall of Famer. That was kind of an okay fight. It wasn't really exciting. And then the third fight, which is the fight I was kind of looking most forward to because I love Tony Ferguson. Ferguson and Chandler, that was a great fight. And man, Michael Chandler comes out in that second round and threw a wrinkle at him with that kick. One of the nastiest kicks you'll ever see. Knocked him out instantly. I think Tony was out for 1 or 2 minutes, I think Rogan said. Then he was all right, thank gosh. And but man, that was one of the nastiest kicks you'll ever see. That fight was exciting. The crowd was into it. Tony looked good in the first round too. I think just like I said, Chandler just came out with this wrinkle in the second half. In the second round, he just saw the opening and took it through that kick and got him. Now, the first title fight between Rose and Carla Esparza, I think that's got to be probably the most boring fight. I forget fight. That had been the most boring sporting event I've ever watched. I mean, I don't know what that was. I don't. I don't know what the strategy was. Both sides said they wanted to play it safe and wait for the other person to make a move, I guess, or they want to feel it out. But you get the round one, okay, feeling it out. No, I mean, I don't know if anybody even threw a punch in the first round. It was that bad, and then just that boring. And then the second round, you're like, okay, maybe we'll start to see somebody pick it up now. And I thought Esparza would pick it up a little bit because she's going against the champ. She's playing with house money. She's got nothing to lose. No, not at all. I mean, so she had a couple takedowns in the rounds 2 through 4, but I can't even remember it because there wasn't that much action at all. And then I don't know what Rose's strategy was. And I like Rose. Like I said, my last one, she was my favorite female fighter, but I don't know what that strategy was. I don't know. I mean, she basically just walked out there, just like, here's my belt. Like, I don't know what I guess maybe she was just playing it safe and thought maybe she can just work the judges on the scorecard, but didn't work. And Carla won just because she did a little more, but it was a pretty boring fight. It was like Rogan said after. I mean, that was a pretty trash fight. I mean, it was pretty bad when they're in the middle of the fight and they're the two commentators are sitting there like having debates about what was the most boring. Is this number one in the most boring fights you've ever seen? Or and they're like, all the ones they were debating were had a little more action than that one. That's how boring that fight was. That fight was terrible. I don't know what that was, but thank gosh the last fight, even though Charles Olivier didn't make weight, he still went out there with pride and like he was defending the belt. Which I mean, he is number one in that class, and he showed why. Another incredible performance by him. And Gaethje was coming out with haymakers, just throwing bombs and trying to knock him out in the first round. But man, Charles is tough, man. He's tough. I mean, he doesn't. I don't know what weakness he has. I think his only weakness is like kind of what Rogan was saying. Is sometimes he allows himself to be a little more vulnerable. Maybe he gets caught. But other than that, nobody wants to be on the ground with that guy at all. I mean, there was a couple times in that first round, Gaethje knocked him on the ground, and he wasn't even trying to get on top of him. He just stepped back, let him get up. So that's how dangerous he is. And then he gets him in a choke, and I mean, yeah, man, Charles is tough. I want to see Charles versus Islam now. I think that should be the fight. I think Islam deserves a shot. Uh, I think that's his best. Charles' next best competitor is Islam. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, man, that was my UFC night. Like I said, it was kind of 50-50. Two of the fights were good. Two of the fights were not as good, especially the Rose one. That one was terrible. But other than that, at least the last fight was good. I am looking forward to UFC. That was 74. I'm really looking forward to 276. They announced that last night, July 2nd, because my favorite fighter, Israel Adesanya, that's my favorite fighter in the UFC. He'll be fighting against Cannonier, and I think that'll be a great fight. There's some other good fights in that card. Sean O'Malley will be on there. He's one of my favorites. Very entertaining. So I can't wait to watch that in July. So that'll be the next 275. I looked at it. Um, I don't know. Nobody on there I really watch. I only buy the card if it's somebody I will really like or a good fight. But so that'd be the next one for me to watch is in July. So, but yeah, man, that's that. And then I saw the Warriors played the Grizzlies. I saw some of that game, and then I saw the Warriors kind of went how I thought I said it would go. My last one, I said I wouldn't be surprised if Game 3 the Warriors just won pretty convincingly. First game at home in front of the crowd, so that's how it went. Now Ja did get hurt. Hopefully Ja's okay. It'd be a shame if he has to miss time because he's been the funnest player to watch in this draft, and I think if he's not able to play, then the series is probably over. It is over, but so hopefully Ja is okay. Hopefully it's nothing too severe. I know he limped off, and like I said, hopefully he's okay. So we'll see where that goes there. And so today I wanted to hop on real quick to kind of share a message and kind of go off of what I talked about in my last episode about contentment. And I know in the last episode I talked about contentment and being content, and I use being like, for me, I'm a single person, and that's as an example. Uh, being content, waiting for God, trusting in God's purpose, but also fulfilling God's plan for you and being complete and content through God, and not allowing the world to speed you up and make you think you need everything at one time, and oh my gosh, if I don't have this, I'm not going to be liked, I'm not going to be socially accepted, I'm not going to be you know I'm not going to be I'm not good enough. Basically, that's how a lot of people feel. And to me, I just think that's complete garbage. But and I've been there, and I had my moments and days where I woke up, or especially when my anxiety was really bad, and it was just like, oh my gosh, woe is me. Uh, man, I mean, I don't have this, I don't have that. I'm not doing this. No, I must not. What's wrong? Like you just feel kind of inferior to the world, and because you feel like you need all these things. But then over time, I've realized that, especially, it's almost God's taught me, like, hey, you got everything you need, and this path I'm taking you down this path for a reason, for a purpose, and you don't see it right now, but eventually you're going to start to see it. And guys, that took some time for me to get there. It took a long time. Some people may take a shorter time. For me, it took a little bit of a longer time because God he had to put me through a test, a trial, and that trial and test was my faith. It was my, it was almost like, are you going to stay the course, or are you going to give in to the world? Are you going to start doing things that are out of your character? Are you going to uh, give up? And that was my test and trial. And I'm still, I mean, that's part of life. You always go through tests and trials. But for me, with my 6, 7 years of anxiety disorder, that was through that 6, 7 years, especially in the halfway point. That was my uh, test, was my patience, but also, uh, you know, it was almost like God was telling me, "Are you willing to withstand this test and trust me that I will get you through, and I'll give you all the strength and everything you need?" And He did. And luckily, you know, I was fortunate enough when I was younger through my mom uh, and other people, authority figures in my life, great teachers and just pastors, and just you know, the Spirit was put in. The, I had the Spirit since I was younger, of just that the Holy Spirit and just that power to get through. Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be sitting here right here with you guys today. But because those seeds were planted in me when I was younger, as I got older, I started to really face more, you know, trials and more real life things. So as you go older as a young adult, I was able to withstand a lot of those things because I knew what to rely on. What I needed to rely on was prayer, number one, my Bible, number two, and just always staying focused on why you're really here. And you're really here. God sent you here for a purpose. And everybody has a purpose. And a lot of times, too, your purpose or your destiny uh, isn't only about you, it's about benefiting others. And having that purpose that benefits others is really, I mean, that's why you're here. It's not, if your purpose is all about yourself, it's not going to last long. If you're somebody that's been struggling for a long time, been going through a trial, been going through whatever you're going through, maybe like what I was, an anxiety disorder, just kind of down in the dumps some days, and then you finally break through that trial. What you've gone through should also benefit others, and basically what you've gone through, your experience and your everything you've learned, you're now giving it back to the world. You're helping others, you're blessing others, you're through I don't say you're blessing. God is blessing others through you. That's a better way to put it. Uh, you know, it, one thing you got to remember too is rarely does God take you from where you are to where you want to be in a straight line. And what I mean by that is you never get from, uh, you know, it's almost like I said in my last couple, maybe it's the last episode where I said you want to go from a bad place to a pleasant place. It's very hard to go from bad to pleasant. You have to get to a neutral place first. And that's kind of what God does. It's very rare that He takes you from a bad situation, excuse me, from a bad situation to a good situation. There's got to be some type of there's usually a trial in between. There's something that shakes you up, and it shakes you up because it's testing you. But it's sharpening you. It's molding you for things to come, right? And it doesn't take long sometimes either. When the time comes, when you know when God is ready to move, it doesn't take that long. And I found that out when I started doing this podcast. Like I said numerous of times, my first episode that day, and it looks so different than it does now because I didn't wake up that day expecting to do that. It just happened. And there were things that happened in that week. That was one of the biggest weeks of my life. I always remember that week. I went through a lot that week alone. But by the end of that week, it led me to okay, I went out Saturday morning in the car, go run some errands, and something was just inside of me. It was God inside of me, just like, okay, today's the day. Because I've had the idea for a while, but I was kind of holding it off for like, I don't know when to start. I don't know what to do. And it just said, it was like God told me that day, like, okay, today's the day. Like, just, there's no more waiting. Like, get up there and just do it. And I still don't know how to describe that because that's why I know it was all God that gave me the strength to do that day because I don't know how I did it, but I got through it. He gave me the strength to get through and do it that day, and the rest is history. That's one of the greatest things personally I've ever done, was going on there and sharing my story and testimony, and hearing all the feedback from people that related to it, and that said it helped them or it gave them a different perspective on anxiety, and and so forth. And so, uh, yeah, man, it doesn't take long. You know, when when God's ready to take you somewhere, it don't take too long, and usually happens pretty quickly out of nowhere. And like I said, I've been through there. I've been there. I've been through it. But it's an awesome feeling at the end, because I figured out my purpose, and I still am figuring out my purpose. Maybe I might not know my purpose fully yet. I probably don't, but I do think what I'm doing now by doing this, helping people in real life, behind, off the camera, I guess you could say. That's my purpose, is taking my experience and what I went through and helping it. Excuse me, taking my experience of panic anxiety, everything I've learned, everything I've been through, and how I got through certain situations, and people I relied on, like the anxiety guy, uh, for how to really heal anxiety disorder, how to start your healing journey. I'm now sharing it with so many other people, and it's helping them. People that were, and some of these people are where I was when I first had it when I was 15, which is like square one. You know, it's like, where I am now. Let's say, for example, like I'm on mile 24. Some people are on mile zero, having started the race yet, and they don't know what to do. And I've talked about that before. A lot of people don't know what to do when it comes to panic anxiety at first, and so because I don't think our, not to bash anybody or make criticism. I think we have a lot of good treatments in this country that have helped people in the world, but a lot of times most people don't know what to do. Uh, they don't know what's really going on, and so our kind of sometimes our first line of treatment is just keeps you in a cycle of coping, but you never break out. You never. I'm not saying that's bad. There's a time for, especially like for me, when all that first started with me when I was 15, going on 16 years old, I was very sensitized. I was very, I needed to just calm down. Like I needed to just slow down and take a break. Like I was tired. Like, and I just had to slow down. And so I took, medication, went to talk therapy and all that good stuff. But what really helped me go forward was when I started to take things in my own hands. Which what I mean by that is, I wasn't relying on others to heal my anxiety. I wasn't relying on a pill to heal my anxiety. I was relying on myself to do the inner work to figure out what was causing my anxiety, to go deeper and to reframe things, to, you know, look back at my past in a different manner. Maybe certain information that was told to me when I was younger and it really isn't true, that I believed that up to that point, right? And so, and then I started becoming my true identity, who I really want to be, and who God designed me to be through all of that. And that's how I started my healing journey. But I would never got to that point if I didn't just go online one day and find the anxiety guy dentist, because I never heard of him before that. But I got, like I had said, I believe in episode 8 or 7, one of the last couple episodes, when I told the story about the day I was in the car trying to go to the doctor's office and I couldn't. And I just sat there and I told my dad, my mom, I was like, something has to change here. Like, I can't keep doing this. And so I just took matters in my own hands and started. I knew something told me there's something else out there. And voila, I go on and I find the anxiety guy, and it just took off from there. Like I explained, I believe it was episode 7. Yeah. And so, uh, but that also, now going through that, the last couple of years, it's led me to now where I'm really starting to see a purpose, and really starting to understand why I went through what I went through, why God took me down that road. Why did God pull me out of high school? Uh, and I didn't go through the typical high school experience like thought I planned on doing at that time. Why did God kind of isolate me for a lot of years? Why did I go through what I went through, right? And so, But now through all of that, I'm starting to really understand more and more, really see what's his purpose is for all that. And like I said, when I hear helping others uh, and just seeing the impact of the things I've learned and shared with other people on this platform or like in private, it's all worth it to me. It was all worth it. It just makes it that much sweeter, and it makes you more excited to what's to come for what's to come. And so, but it's finding that purpose, getting content, getting to a place where you're content. Which also, when you get to a place you're content with God, you're content with God. He gives you the peace. I guess the best way to describe it is uh, you're not focused on things that you think you need. You're focused on what you have, and you're focused on what God's plan is for you. If that makes sense, in a way where you know you trust that God's going to take you to where you want to go, but He's also going to. It's His plans. Sometimes it's different than ours, which I found out, but His plan's also greater, and that's what's most important is the end goal. Because this isn't our final destination. Is Earth. There's something beyond Earth when you die, but when your time here on Earth, there's a greater purpose. There's a greater plan, and so, but it starts with the contentment to get to your purpose, and at least through my experience. And so, in my last video, I referenced a lot about a sermon I watched about with Tony Evans, who's one of my favorite pastors. Probably my favorite pastor right now is Tony Evans, and I want to share part of this sermon, a couple clips from it. Again, this is fair use for YouTube. Just give you my commentary on this video here, so fair use. But this video is one I referenced to, and this is a 2-part video. If you want to go watch it, it's called "Contentment as a Single." And again, when I'm referring to contentment, it could be something. Maybe you're married and you're not single. I'm using a single person because I am one, but also as an example. But being content could be anything else in life, and I think Tony references that here in this video I'm going to show. So again, I want to show parts of this video, give some commentary on it. So fair use. So yeah, man. Hold on one second. I'm a little new to this. So okay. So yeah. So here is the first part I want to share. And actually see Tony Evans radio. Tony Evans Contentment as a Single Part 2. This is a 2-part series. I recommend going and watching this. Part 1 and 2, and there's many other videos, sermons about this topic, but very powerful. So, yeah, man, let me play this.
Fulfilling is reason for being. The quickest way for God to get you to where He wants you is for Him to know He can do something with you where you are, that He can use you. Because you can come and sit and hear this teaching and still take the blue pill and go back home to your plain old regular ordinary life. Unfulfilled, just doing the same stuff over again, hoping stuff changes. Or you can say, no, I'm going to fulfill the work that God has given me to do. God, you just got to show it to me because I'm ready to go. Now, the question is, how will you discover what that work is? How will you know what that work is? Well, there are 4 things that come together to tell you or help you locate your divinely ordained reason for being once you become a kingdom single. Number 1, your passion, what inflames you. Second one is your skill set. What are you good at or potentially good at? Thirdly, your experiences, the things you've gone through. And I'm talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good experiences you had, maybe it involves the education you had or the training in a certain discipline you have. So the good. The bad is the mistakes you've made, the sins you've done, the regrets. If you could do it all over again, you'd do it differently, but you can't do it all over again. But what did you learn from it that you can still use for yourself and to benefit others? So that's the bad. Then there's the ugly. That's when you've been hurt by other people. There are not too many singles these days who haven't been hurt by somebody. Let me tell you, when God puts the good, bad, and ugly in His cosmic blender, He can still come out with a pretty good tasting cake. In other words, he uses that. He used the failure of Peter. He used the failure of Moses. You can go on and on through scripture. So your experiences. And then your personality. Now, we don't have the same personality. Some are introvert, some are extrovert. In other words, it flows. You can be yourself in it. You don't have to try to be somebody else. Because if you were somebody else, we wouldn't need you. And when all of those come together, then you will begin to experience what it is to be undivided and focused.
Dr. Evans will come back in a moment.
So yeah, so there you go. He talks about, having a purpose, and the four things he said: having passion, skill set, experiences, personality. And yeah, those are all four things that really, what's your purpose, right? And so, what's your passion? So for me, I'll use me as an example to help you guys figure, maybe if you're figuring out what your purpose is, or if you're in this place. My passion was, I like doing podcasts, and I've always liked podcasting. Uh, I've always been intrigued by it. I watch so many. I like this kind of platform of coming on here and talking about things openly, having fun, and so that was my passion. But then he talks about skill set. I said, okay, well, I like to get on and talk. I like interacting with other people. I like asking people questions. I always liked, you know, getting to know things, find things out at a deeper level, either through people or just research or anything, right? And then my experiences. Uh, I've gone through an experience of panic and anxiety disorder that I feel like I can help others and or share my story and we can all help each other grow, right? And so, uh, very key what he talked about there. But I liked what he talked about too. Is it's something I've talked about is people take we talk about the blue pill you mentioned, and right before that party we talk about there's a blue pill and a red pill. He's telling a story, and the red pill was something greater. If you take the red pill, it's kind of like freedom. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and then the blue pill was kind of like something that's just you know uh, temporary, right? Coping. Let's just say coping and healing. The red pill is healing. The blue pill is coping, and a lot of people keep taking the blue pill and they keep, like you said, doing the same old stuff, hoping things changes, or doing the same old things and hoping things change, right? And so that's kind of what I've been talking about through all my episodes. You can't keep doing the same old habits. Anxiety is a habit, and I'm just using anxiety as an example. You can't keep doing the same things in your life and expect change. Uh, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to ever reach maybe your purpose that God, your full potential, your purpose, or what you truly makes you happy, what truly makes you happy. And you're kind of just stuck. You're just like, you got one foot out the door and one foot in the door. You're not like, you don't ever just, it's like a lake of cold water, right? And I've used this example before. It's like a lake of cold water. Okay, you've never been in that cold lake before because it's different or it feels uncomfortable, right? But are you going to put one foot in for a second and just get out and stay where you've always been? Or let's say that cold lake of water is freedom and you got to jump in there and you got to stay in there and you got to power through. And eventually it gets a lot easier on your body the more you start to adjust. You're going to stay in that cold lake of water, right? Because through the end of it is the reward. And the reward is your purpose, but also your purpose benefits so many other people. And so, uh, like Tony was saying, are you going to stay in that same old cycle and keep doing the same things over and over and over again, and you're not going to get any change? And what happens is when that keeps happening, that cycle, you get more and more down in the hole, down in the dumps. You get more frustrated. You get more disappointed. You're just furthering yourself from healing and getting where you want to be. Uh, and so, yeah, I mean, are you going to keep staying in that same cycle, or are you going to take a chance and you're going to trust God and test your faith a little bit. And I know it's not easy. Like I said, I've been there, guys. And I've had days where I did not feel like doing anything because my anxiety was I woke up there was days I woke up, or I would say days, for a periods I woke up. I was like, boy, I hope I don't have anxiety today. That's a terrible, terrible strategy, and a terrible, just not a fulfilling way to wake up every day. Just hoping and wish and trying to avoid things, trying to avoid anxiety. No, you shouldn't live like that. You should wake up every day, like I've said before, as a new opportunity. Today's gonna be a great day, excuse me, for me to grow. And so, you know, but you have to test, you got to get out of that cycle first. You can't keep doing the same things, like I keep reiterating. And that's good. If I keep repeating myself, that's good because I'm trying to make a point, an important point. You cannot keep doing the same bad habits or doing the same things or staying around the same people, whatever it is, people, relationships, things, habit, whatever it is. You can't keep doing the same negative things in your life and expect change and expect to get somewhere, just hoping to get by or just coping to get by. Why don't you take a leap out, take a step out, and why don't you just test yourself, learn about yourself, and you watch and see where you actually go. It's greater than you think sometimes, especially when, I mean, when you got that strength that God gives you to persevere and get through, and you get to that point where you have that breakthrough, I don't think there's not a better feeling ever. There isn't a better feeling because you're fulfilling God's purpose. You're fulfilling the purpose for you. And through that, your self empowerment grows, your confidence grows, everything grows. And anxiety, let's say for anxiety, lessens, you start to defeat it more and more. And so take that leap today and get out of that cycle. Now, I do want to play, as I said, there's a couple clips. Let me fast forward to the next part. I have it written down here. Right here. So here's the next part. What Tony was talking about. I'll play it right here.
With more of today's lesson.
The third word is contentment. Contentment means to be at ease where you are until you get where you want to be. It means to be at rest where you are until something changes. Contentment doesn't mean you don't want a better job. Contentment doesn't mean you don't want more income. Contentment doesn't mean you don't want to get married one day. Contentment doesn't mean you don't want to have kids and raise a family. Contentment doesn't stop dreaming. But contentment means I'm not living a worried life while I wait. Do you know why Eve sinned? Because the devil created discontent. In Genesis chapter 3, Satan told her, God is holding out on you, girlfriend. God holding out on you. Why would he hold out on that one tree? God is messing with you. If I was God, I wouldn't be putting you in this situation. And all of a sudden, that tree in the middle of the garden got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. She went from, I can't eat from it and I can't touch it, meaning I can't go near that tree, to, boy, that tree sure looked good. Because verse 6 says, when she saw that the tree was good for food, it was always there, good for food. It was a delight to the eyes. It was pretty to look at. It was always there, pretty to look at. And it was able to make one wise, make you feel good about what you're learning. She said, oh, she ate because he made her discontent. All of a sudden, all those other trees didn't matter anymore. All those other free trees didn't matter anymore because there's this one tree that I gotta have.
And so again, there you go. He talked about Eve, and it's something that kind of reminds you of something I've been through, and I've talked about on this podcast before about focus and trusting in your process, but also you got to remember when you get on this healing path, let's say you have a plan, right? A 3 month plan. Like for me, I've made a plan for myself where I want to be, where I envision myself 3 months from now. And through that, I'm going to do small things, small victories get me to the bigger victories. And so, but a lot of times, uh, you know, it's like I'm at a point, let's say for, trying to explain this. I'm at a point, let's say, where I'm very content with everything in my life. Like speaking for myself right now, I'm very content. I have a great home, great family, great friends. I'm grown. I have so much progress going for me. I'm doing a lot of good things. The best I've felt in 6, 7 years, probably ever, really. And so, but through that, it's very easy to have days or more short cycles where you get off focus. And, it's like you talk about Eve, Satan got her so focused on that one tree because it looked so good. Oh man, look at that tree. But she realized she had all these other trees around her. That was all she needed. She didn't need that tree. And, it's very easy for anybody to lose sight or lose focus of kind of that purpose of staying on track with your healing. Trying to, okay, basically what I'm saying is, you guys know me. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, it's very easy to get distracted while you're on the healing journey, or any journey, in life, everyday life. Again, I use a lot of anxiety examples because that's what I go through, but some people tune in to this for that. But anything in life, it's very easy to get distracted and, off focus what we need to stay focused on. And a lot of that is, do you truly believe in what you're doing? Do you feel like you have a purpose? Are you content in what you're doing? Do you feel, yeah, I wish I had a little more, like Tony was saying, but I like where I am. I'm content where I am, and I trust where I'm going. I trust where God's taking me. I know I'm going to get to where I want to be one day if I keep staying on track of what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people in society and just in general nowadays, we get too greedy. We get too greedy. We get too ambitious, and we want instant gratification. We want instant success or instant. Everything's instant, but a lot of times, instant like food, it don't really take it. After a while, it doesn't taste as good, and it gets old and it gets bad fast, and it's not very. It's very synthetic. It's not authentic, and so it's not organic. You know what I mean? And so again, are you at ease? Are you are you at ease in what you're doing in life? Are you content in what you're doing in life? Do you feel like you have a purpose in what you're doing? And is that purpose also benefiting others? Do you feel like you're really doing things that are helping people, not just yourself? It's I think that's something you got to ask yourself today, and something I had to ask myself for a long time. Was like I talked about my years when I was really struggling. Was you know I didn't trust what I was doing at that point in time. But I talked about before I found the anxiety guy and start getting my, even before, I would say, even before, after that, even I'd say up until the last year, to be honest, almost a year, I wasn't really 100% all in on what I was doing because I didn't really believe in what I was doing. It wasn't fulfilling for me, but I also feel like it didn't have a purpose behind it. I just feel like it wasn't. Uh, just something was off. Like I just felt like I was just doing things just to do them. I was just getting by each day, just trying to get by, almost like survival mode. That's not a way to live. That's not, that there's not what's fulfilling out of that. There's nothing. And I got to the point where in the end I was just even more disappointed. I felt like I was back at square one again. But it's almost like God, but I had to get through to that because God had to get me refocused on what was important and what the truth is and what uh, he had to get me focused and centered to where I am now. And where I am now is I'm very content and I love where he's taking me and the things I'm doing. And so does my patience get tested? Absolutely. And I have some bad days and I have some good days. But in those bad days, I could just sense it. I could feel it. Uh, those are the days where I really have to get in my Bible more and pray more and really lean on people more. Because the worst thing you can do is conceal, and that's what I did for 6 years. I just concealed and just basically took that blue pill of just trying to get by. And like I said, it took me slowly over time. It went this way, then it went down, setback, and it just kept taking me down and down and down and down. And there would be times where I'd go up a little bit, but in the end, it always took me back down. But now I'm at the point where, okay, I'm going down, but I'm going up, but I'm going down, but I'm still heading towards that path, right? And so it's all about trust, and it's all about your faith, really. I mean, and you have to test your faith. That's something I had to really learn the hard way sometimes. Is what faith without works is nothing. You have to test your faith. You have to, faith is believing and trusting the things not seen, right? And you just go and you just trust, and it's you got to have that strong faith with God. You got to have a purpose, but you got to be content. And you got to thank God, and I believe the next part I'm going to share, that's what Tony talks about, is you know when you're going through that, you should praise God, thank God for everything you have. It's let me play this next part here. Hold on one second. Wrote it down. Where's it at? Where's it at? There we go. Again, YouTube, this is fair use. Fair use. Educational purposes.
And I am strengthened. So back to Philippians, when he says, I have learned the secret that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. There it is. There is the secret. What's the secret? Shh, don't tell nobody. It's a secret. He says the secret is to glory when things aren't right, because then his strength shows up. And how will you know when God has showed up? Because he says he will give you strength. He didn't say he was going to change it, at least not right then. He says you're going to get this infusion of power. Isaiah 40, I love the way it ends. He gives new strength to the weary, to the tired, to the single who doesn't know whether he or she can make it any longer. He gives new strength. That is the new capacity to keep on keeping on. Don't let discontent cause you to be a defeated single, but focus on what God can give you in the secret of your gratitude, the power of your praise, even when your emotions are not cooperating.
And again, I think that last part he said there was so key, is the power of your praise and staying focused and having your trust and faith in God, even when your emotions are out of whack. And I could attest to that. There's a lot of days where I had bad anxiety, bad panic attacks, and I could have very easily and a lot of times I did at first. I just gave into it and I let it control me and consume me and just dictate everything I do. But over time, you start to learn that if you really want to get better, you have to, like you said, you got to have that contentment. You got to stay focused on uh, the Lord and just trust and believe and know that, okay, I'm going through something right now. I accept that. God's put me here. I look at it like this. Okay, God put me here for a reason. If he didn't think I could handle it, he wouldn't have put me here. But it's like it says in the Bible, he'll never give you more than you can handle. And so over time, when I start to tell myself that more and more, and I started to tell, I would get in certain situations, or have bad, I'm going through a little phase where my anxiety is really high, really sensitized, have more panic attacks, or maybe I'm in a situation some days that I felt really uncomfortable in, and I didn't know. I start to get the doubt in my head about what's going to happen what's going to happen here, either myself or whatever. The health anxiety started to kick in more. I had to stop and tell myself, okay, listen, God brought me here this far. That means He knows I can handle it. Because I remember one time I listened to a Tony Evans sermon. He talked about, you know, Christ has already dictated with God has already dictated that when the day before you even get there. What I mean by that is, let's say today's Sunday. Let's say Tuesday. Well, you know what? I'll use an example. That week for me, when I did my first episode, that was a long, hard week. But God dictated, and He had already decided that Saturday, the day I recorded that He can handle it. Like He's already been to Saturday. God's already been to the future. It's already written. You know what I mean? And so He's already been there, and He knows. He's decided. Uh, decided and dictated to. Honestly, dictate. He's already determined. That's the word I was trying to find. Determined that you can handle it, right? And so that helped me when I get in that moment, in those moments, and where I have a lot of doubt, my anxiety's really high, my panic's really high. But a lot of times, if I just stop, and it's very hard in those moments to really think. But when you allow the storm to pass, it doesn't have to be just anxiety; it could be anything in life, any other situation or moments you have, whatever it is. Maybe you're having doubt and thoughts in your head. You have to think, okay, let me pause, let me stop, and let me look at this from another angle. That God has already dictated that I can handle this because He wouldn't allow it wouldn't have gotten to me. I wouldn't have gotten this far if He didn't think I could. He brought me this far, and He brought you this far. He's going to deliver you through it, and that's what I've learned, and that's what a lot of people have learned. And if you haven't been there, you're gonna get there. Just stick with it. Just trust, have patience, faith, kind of all the things I've talked about in my first, these first couple episodes I put out. That's kind of all the things I've talked about: purpose, today, patience, contentment, uh, a lot of things, and just in terms of when you get in those moments, how are you going to respond? Responding over then reacting. Are you reacting out of emotion? It's like what Tony said at the end there. Are you going to allow your emotions to control you, or are you going to override the emotions through, your wisdom, through the strength God gives you? Because God does give you the strength, and I've experienced that firsthand. I mean, like I said, there was times where, for a moment, I didn't know if I was like, okay, is this it? Like, is this the one? Is this the panic attack, the anxiety attack that's finally going to get me? Like, this is it. This is the one. But every time, I always made it through. Why is that? Because God got me through. God gave me the strength and the peace and the comfort. He always came through for me, and that's what I really rely on. Like, and I guess that's kind of what I've been reiterating for this show is, through trust and faith, I had to test my faith. I had to go through that test and that trials in different situations and different days, different areas. But through those, now I've come out of them, and each time, my worst fears never happened, and God always got me through it. And so, like, I guess, guys, what I'm saying is, just have the patience, have the trust, have a plan that you believe in, and just be content. Be thankful for everything God gave you, because there's somebody out there right now that has it a hell of a lot worse than you do. And I've seen it firsthand. There was days where I thought I had it really bad, and then I hear from somebody else, or that maybe I'm close to, or I see other people that are kind of lost and don't um, really have any purpose or anything to lean on spiritually, or just anybody in life. I mean, there's people out there that right now that are going through the kind of anxiety and panic I was going through, and they don't have anybody to lean on. They don't have any friends to call. They don't have any. Some people don't have any family members to call. They have no resources. They have nothing. And I was kind of in that period for a while. Not to where I didn't have people there with me. I always had good support, great support around me. But there was a short period where I didn't have anybody that really understood what I was going through. Right. But then God one day brought somebody into my life that it opened up my mind to new information that really helped me. It was the best. I mean, is the reason why I'm, part of the reason I'm here today is because that day I found the anxiety guy. And so that's kind of my purpose for this is to be, uh, maybe that's somebody for somebody else. There could be somebody out there right now that was, is where, is where I was at that point where they're just kind of out there. And like I said, there's people out there in a worse situation I've ever, and they don't have anybody to lean on. They don't know where to go, what direction to turn to. They're kind of just going through the day, each day, and they're kind of just each day they just feel like they're suffering more and more and more. Each day becomes more and more painful, and they never get what they're looking for. They get temporary highs, but they don't last long. They're looking for something that will get them to that point where they're content. It's like a neutralness, like a sustained feeling of, you know, gratification, but honestly gratification, but a sustained feeling of like that sustained high almost of feeling good, of feeling neutral, feeling like you're going somewhere, right? Having that purpose. And so I hope that makes sense to you guys. I try to explain these things the best I can. Sometimes when I'm up here talking by myself, I'm talking so much. I have so many thoughts going through my head. I'm trying to put it all out there because I'm trying to share as much information as I can on these topics. So bear with me. But yeah, man, that's a message for today. Like I said, just stay the course, man. Stay focused and just have a plan, have a purpose in what you're doing. Most importantly, have a purpose through God. What's God's purpose for you? Have you tried to find? Have you tapped into that yet? Have you really tapped into your true self yet? Do you feel like you're the real version of yourself? Are you doing all the things you really want to do, or do you feel like you're just you've been made into the person you are through people in this world, throughout the worldly things and just like social media, or for example, or do you feel like you've kind of been molded into something that you didn't really choose to be? Because that's where a lot of people have been, and are. And so, are you going to stay in that cycle, or are you going to take the leap of faith and get out and really start to go towards true freedom and true inner peace? And so, that's a message for today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Happy Mother's Day again to all the mothers out there. Love all you guys, and love my mom. Again, Mom, happy Mother's Day. And yeah, man, that's a message for today. Next time you see me on here, maybe next time, I don't know. Like I said, I've been working on some things behind the scenes. I got some cool things coming up uh, to take this show to the next, elevate the show a little bit, make the production a little more different, maybe. I don't know. I'm still learning all this stuff. I got some interviews coming up. I got some cool things coming up to make this a little more intriguing. I got some people coming on here that I find really that are fascinating people that I think have great testimonies and just are just cool, funny people. And so I can't wait for that. That should be coming up maybe this week. We'll see. So, but until then, I'm just gonna keep coming on here and yeah, man, just keep coming on here and giving whatever God puts in my head to share with you guys. Really, I mean, it's kind of how I do this. Is whatever pops in my head, I write it down, and I just a lot of times what I'm going through, what I talk about is things I'm going through myself, and so that's why I share it with the world because I feel like I said, somebody else out there maybe right now that needs to hear somebody else in their shoes that have been where they or has been in their shoes, right? And so, especially people my age, our age group, if you're watching this, like we need to do more. We need to communicate more. We don't communicate enough. If we do communicate, it's not very. It's through the phone or texting. There's not a lot of real communication nowadays. We don't really know how to communicate anymore. I'll text, but I don't prefer texting. I'd rather somebody call me. I want to hear your voice. I want to see your face. I want a real interaction. There's no emotion in texting. It's just kind of like bland. And so I think we need to get back to that, man. We need to get back to real communication, seeing each other, talking to people on the phone, FaceTime, whatever you got to do. Like, be open. Don't be, uh, you know, don't be You can't just text all the time and just, or, you know, communicate through a phone or through social media or things like that. We need to interact more. We need to help each other more. Is what basically what I'm saying is we don't. And so you don't need to be shy. Who cares what people think? You know, that day I came up here and did that first episode, there was a lot of doubt running through my head. And I haven't a lot of episodes too. Times when I get up here, I get doubt. Like, why are you doing this? You look like you get those doubt. You get some of those thoughts like, what if you make yourself look like a fool or you look, but I'm just kind of like, I know that's all BS. And as long as this helps one person, then it was all worth it. Who cares what people think? Just be you. That's what people want. And like I've reiterated numerous of times on this show, we're craving authenticity nowadays because there's not enough of it. And so just be real, man. Be your real, true, authentic self. And so thanks for tuning in today, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and please share this message any way on your social media to share this. Oh, my phone's going on. I'll call back. Share this, and because it could really help somebody. Like I said, or share your story. You can. I love to hear you guys' stories. Share them. Everybody's got a testimony. I think you got something you could share. Share it. It really helps somebody. And so, yeah, man, I'm a little dry mouth again. Like I said, my last episode, when I talk for a while, I start to get cotton mouth. I'm tired, and I'm gonna go out and sit in the sun for today. Enjoy the sunshine, and enjoy Mother's Day with my mom. And so, I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.